Alright, I think it's high time I laid down my thoughts on things that have been going on. I'm going to say this right here and now. I don't like where BBG is going. Now, I understand that with Battle Bear's Ultimate coming up, that Skyview is working to both improve the quality of BBG and to make sure that anticipation is high for Battle Bear's Ultimate. But let me say right now that some of the choices you've made so far have seemed to me as if they were ill-advised or were not given a huge amount of thought. Now, unlike some people, I actually thought that initially the changes to the soldier weren't all that bad until I took on some of the pro users. Now, I understand your viewpoint as to trying to help the new players, but what you're also doing is you're giving the pro players an amazing boost in their power. Case in point, the Sci-Fi Azar. People are arguing that the Sci-Fi Azar doesn't do amazing damage, but if you keep a lock on your opponent and you can maintain with the right equipment, you can tear through even the high HP classes. When I got torn through easily playing as a heavy against a Sci-Fi Azar wielding soldier, before the heavy overhaul was made, I knew automatically that something was up. Personally, I don't like some of the changes that were done to the soldier. I like some of the changes that were done to the heavy even less. Case in point, the zombie gun and field medic. I'm going to say this right now. The field medic was my absolute favorite heavy weapon. My absolute favorite. I developed an entire strategy and worked towards it to an utter T. Matter of fact, there are some videos on my Every Play channel that show you how much I love the weapon. However, with the recent overhaul, not only do I not like the field medic anymore, but I don't even want to take it out in the field because of the risks it provides. Sacrificing 40% of my health for a 40% increase in speed, that's not trying to make the heavy more tanky. You're trying to turn the heavy into the soldier with that. And the same can be said for the zombie gun. Look, the field medic is the heavy's high damage, high reward, but it's also high risk, high reward weapon. Very, very low ammo at the cost of high damage. And you go and decrease the damage of field medic even more? Look, with damage 2, ammo 2, and propaganda, I was scraping by. But that was mainly because I was dealing with lag. But I had to reload after every single firefight because I knew I wouldn't have enough damage to take out some of the classes with the ammos that I had most of the time. And now you decrease the damage of the field medic on top of decreasing the heavy health by 40% when using it. I'm going to say no. And then since the overhaul, I have not touched the heavy. I'm not even taking Provolone or Electric Honey for a run anymore. Actually, scratch that. I took Electric Honey and Provolone for a run, and I'm extremely disappointed with the charge-up time. I can understand the rev-up time for Electric Honey, but when the rev-up time for Provolone is like near 4 to 5 seconds to get it going, are you kidding me? Exactly what was your thought process with that? I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but 4 or 5 seconds to get the weapon going? Are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, you'd have to continuously keep it revved to get it going. I can understand, like, some of the pro heavy players who think this isn't a terrible thing, but at the same time, if you're in a firefight, a sudden firefight, and you have to get going, you have to either wait 5 seconds and potentially get gunned down, or you have to rely on your secondary. Now, don't get me wrong on a few things. Some of the other changes to the heavy I liked. I think that the change in damage diversion and dispersion over time for the Mother Nature was a decent change, and one that I think would make a lot more players happy. I think you took the exact same approach with the Sake Bomb for the Sucker Punch, though. While I will say that the increased rate of fire for the shotgun secondaries with the heavy is greatly appreciated. And I will say that. That's one of the only few good things that I've seen in the overhaul for the heavy, is the increase in fire rate in the shotgun secondaries, making the Plasma Orb hands down one of my favorite secondaries for the heavy. It was already a good secondary, and now it's just great. Now on to the sniper. Where do I start with the sniper? There were two things that were prominent in my mind after I saw the overhaul video for the sniper. The increase in the lock time for the Viper rifle, and how it was apparently mixed up that the difference between the two versions of Capital Pains. Green Capital Pains is the slower firing high damage, while red Capital Pains is the faster firing lower damage variant. Yet in the video, they seem to have them switched. Also, I think that I'm just kind of in the gray area with the Mama's Boy. I've gave it a try every once in a while, and there are a lot of people who swore by it, but I never really got into it. So even with the change, I can't really say I have an opinion on that one. Seeing as how I don't use the crossbow or the blowgun either, I can't really provide an opinion on those either. Though I was never good with the crossbow anyway in the times that I tried it. I think that the shift towards working towards the specials for the sniper is a really decent idea. It'll provide a little bit more variety with sniper players, and it'll also provide a little bit more versatility to the class in some respects, I suppose. I mean, just the other day I saw a sniper using a slow-mo field. You don't see that anymore. So that's a welcome addition and a welcome change. The sniper secondaries are good enough as is, but at present, only a few are really worthwhile. Being someone who used to main sniper and someone who goes against a lot of snipers, I know how to counter pretty much every single sniper secondary out there. To the point where the Tomahawk and Eagle Standard don't bother me, don't even hinder me at all, and I can counter the Daydreamer's reverse controls effect very easily. Seeing as how I accidentally ran over a few of my Daydreamers back in the day when I used to run Daydreamer consistently with my sniper sets. Fairies Dust still remains my favorite sniper secondary because of the fact of its versatility as both an escape tool and as a means to disorient foes. However, despite that, there are a lot of things that I need to talk about. I noticed that some of these changes were made based on player feedback, but some of these seem just way too radical to even have been suggested by the fans. I'm curious as to where your thought process is for some of these changes. Even though you stated why in some of the overhaul videos, why you did some of them still remain unclear in their entirety as to why you did them. I'm turning Sake Bomb into a rapid-fire weapon. That's funny, but it's acceptable. While providing a heavy nerf to the Heavy's health for a strong increase in speed for Field Medic is completely and utterly unacceptable in my eyes. I'm not trying to be rude at all. I mean, I'm just giving my point of view in this. I mean, I kind of have a right to speak about this since I've been playing since BBR 1.1. I mean, I've been with the series a long time. I've been with it since before Riggs's campaign was released in Battle Bears -1. I've been with the series a long time. I've followed you guys for a while now. I've dropped a lot of money, a lot of physical money into Battle Bears Royale and Battle Bears Gold. I mean, my ownership of God Complex and Solid Fisher back when they were both at their high prices kind of says something there, especially considering the fact that I have pretty much every weapon for some of the classes and almost every weapon for some of the classes. With the only exception being I don't own Sanchez and I have no intention of ever getting Sanchez. Sorry, I just don't like him. Look, another thing I need to address is story. You seem to be focused a lot on your multiplayer, and I understand multiplayer sells quite a bit, but so does story. Regardless of what anyone says, story sells, and story sells very well. Look at the Mass Effect franchise, for instance. Look at the Elder Scrolls franchise. Look at the Jak and Daxter franchise. Look at the Uncharted franchise. Look at Donkey Kong 64. Look at the Banjo and Kazooie franchise. I could go on and on and on. I mean, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Gex. I mean, Medieval. Come on, seriously. I can go on and on and on about all the good story games that have sold so well over the years. And I don't know if it was because of the sales numbers of your games or if it was because of you wanted to go in a different direction, but I like the fact that you went with Battle Bears Royale. It provided a nice change of pace from all the single-player games out there for the series. At the same time, I kind of wish you would focus a little bit more on the single-player aspects of the games or some of the more underappreciated games in your franchise that still look at love. I mean, I don't play Battle Bears Fortress, but there's still a lot of people on the forums who I know play it and are eagerly waiting for the next update that probably isn't never going to come. I still love playing Battle Bears Zombies and Battle Bears -1. Matter of fact, even to this day, Battle Bears -1 still remains my absolute favorite game in the franchise. Maybe because I'm biased towards it because it was my first game that I played entering the franchise. And then you have decent spin-off games, such as Battle Bears Blast, which is a nice little time killer. Although I don't play it much anymore, but it's a nice little time killer. And it's actually kind of challenging in the higher levels. And then we have Battle Bears Zero. Personally, my extent of Battle Bears Zero ranged to just playing the single player, and I never really touched the multiplayer at all. Although I might, with people saying that the multiplayer has gotten some fixes here and there, I might reinstall BattleBear Zero and give the multiplayer a run. Who knows? But that said, my absolute favorite games in the franchise are the story games. BattleBear Zombies, BattleBears -1, BattleBear Zero. These are the games that I value the highest in this series because of the fact that they tell a story and oftentimes they will tell it well. BattleBear Zero is hands down one of my favorites because of the fact that it consistently provides cutscenes of the story between levels. In the same manner as BattleBears -1 and BattleBear Zombies does, just with a little bit more frequency. By all means, though, go ahead, branch out, try new concepts. It's always a good idea to explore. But keep in mind your fan base. We're here for a reason. We've been here a long time. We are the ones buying your game and earning you profits. We have as much a say in it as you do. And now you may think, oh no, I don't think so. We're the one making the game. Some people might say that. But at the same time, I implore you to at least listen to my reasons and hear me out. I'm not trying to sound aggressive in any manner. I'm just providing my thoughts on the matter. But I do come off as abrasive from time to time, so I deeply apologize if I've come off as abrasive in the length of this rant. So, moving on. A good amount of the people buying your games, paying money for your content, are oftentimes on the forums, and they will tell you about stuff that they like and stuff that they don't like. I mean, they will give you feedback. They will give you bug reports. I mean, look at the beta testers, for instance. I mean, they provide you bug reports for all the issues of upcoming games and upcoming updates and things along those lines, and they're more than happy to help you with those. At the same time, I mean, look at all the ideas that are thrown around the forum. I mean, I see some really good ideas from time to time on the forum, but I know that you have to sift through them to find the ones that seem the most plausible from time to time. That said, I'm not saying that 100% of your ideas have to come from us, but it would be appreciated to be listened to and have some kind of voice of reason from time to time. Because any idea sounds good on paper, let's be honest, but sometimes you have to bounce them back and forth between people before you get onto a solid concept that you can make money off of, or that you can actually get people interested in. Which is why I keep imploring that a lot of some of these radical changes are thrown by the fan base a little bit just to get their feedback on it before you just throw it out there. Because yes, there is adaptation to new ideas and new concepts and new strategies that come up from these changes, but at the same time, some of the aspects of the weapons or characters are lost. I mean, case in point, the shift in the character design from the BattleBears -1 BattleBears Royale character design to the BattleBears Royale to the BattleBears Ultimate design. I've never ever been a fan of the BattleBears Ultimate design. I'm gonna just say that right now, and I know that a lot of people who know me know this right out of the bat. I don't like the design, but I'm willing to accept it if that's the position you're willing to take it. But I sincerely hope that you do not lose track of the story and where you've brought these characters. In my personal opinion, the best design you could have landed on was the midpoint design between BattleBears Royale and BattleBears Ultimate. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a design where Oliver is a little bit cartoony, but not as cartoony as he is in BattleBears Ultimate design, if you know exactly what I'm talking about. That, personally, would have been a perfect hybrid between the two designs and would have been one that I would have fully accepted. Because at that, you could also maintain the attitude and gruffness of the characters and the kind of dark atmosphere that the series kind of portrays on its underside, while at the same time providing a little bit of lightheartedness here and there. I mean, from time to time, I start to wonder exactly where you're taking the series, especially considering that the long, drawn-out delays that you have on certain things, such as BattleBears TV. I mean, how long has that been on hiatus? And I say hiatus because, honestly, it's kind of announced things here and there, reposts here and there, but no real official news on it. And I know a lot of forumers are kind of disappointed that there hasn't been a huge amount of status updates on it. And I know a lot of forumers are disappointed with some of the changes that are made here and there. But then again, you can't cater to every crowd. You can't really do anything to heavily change the soldier for BattleBears Gold, because then you start to tick off the pro Oliver players, such as Blade and Epic Fail. Then again, you got to dance around some of the more interesting and controversial characters, such as Botch, because then you start to mess with assassin mains such as Botches himself and myself. Look, all I'm saying is that from time to time, if you're gonna make changes like you've been doing, run them by us instead of just throwing them out there. I mean, it would be nice to actually get input from time to time so you know exactly what we like and what we don't like. Because I understand that you listen to our suggestions from time to time, but it seems as if some of these you were just thinking about maybe the new players. When I understand it's a great idea to focus on the new players, but you also need to focus on the veteran players as well. You have to balance out how will the new players like this, and then you also have to consider how the veteran players and how the pro players will like this. It's just something to think about, you know? It's just something I want to get off my chest, in all honesty. Look, I have a lot more that I could talk about, but in all honesty, I think that I've said pretty much the bulk of what I wanted to say for this particular topic. So I'm just going to go ahead and end it right here. And I'm probably going to make more videos like this in the future about my thoughts on certain things. You're very likely probably going to get another video like this when you do the Graham overhaul. I mean, I'm just curious considering that I just started using hand cannon, but I've been focused on a pure radiation set with Graham, so it'll be interesting to see where you take Graham, but I certainly hope that you'll provide some more details to the overhaul instead of just throwing it out there and going bam, 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 bam. We changed this, 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 and this, and there's absolutely no real input whatsoever on our part. You just take the ideas and take some of the feedback, and you change some things, and then you radically change other things without actually giving us any feedback before you do it. Now, if you did do this at some point and I didn't notice, then I apologize, but it certainly doesn't seem like you've been doing this lately, but I just feel as if I just needed to talk about this and a couple other things. So, I mean, multiplayer games really aren't my strong suit. I'm a story addict. I play adventure games. I mean, I think a game with a strong single player is far more valuable than a game with a strong multiplayer. But I think that a game with strong single player and strong multiplayer is one of the best games that you could possibly get. I mean, you have games such as Titanfall, which have great multiplayer, but terrible single player. And then you have games such as Jak and Daxter with great story, but no multiplayer. I mean, you have to balance between the two from time to time, and between the directions you want to go. And I understand, I'm not in the game industry business, I understand that, but I understand how economics works. I understand how a business works. And I understand that you have to value the most profitable venture that you can utilize within game creation, but you also have to balance out customer satisfaction. So, I think it'd be a good idea to chime in with a little bit more details from time to time about these overhauls when you make them, so that there's not a lot of backlash on a lot of these things from time to time. So I certainly think that I've rambled long enough on this topic, so I'm just going to let it go now. So this has been LXSXL, signing off.